Let's start looking at Construct, the actual game editor. And so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to start a new test project. To start any form of test project or any project that you want, you simply click on the New Project button. And then what we'll get here is a dialog box asking you what sort of resolution and what viewport size and dimensions that that you would like for your game. So I'm just going to leave it in its standard size here and just type in test project. And then you can optimize for pixel art down here. I'm going to click create. And then what we have on the screen is the default layout of Construct. So what we have here is the stage. The dotted line indicates the boundaries of the screen of the game, so you can have assets outside of the boundaries of the game. And then you'll have some tabs. I can use my mouse wheel or button or touch area to move my stage around. But these three tabs, this is the start page, which we've previously looked at. This is the layout of the game. And this is the event sheet. Now, an event sheet is where the code goes, and we use graphic-based coding in this software. I'm going to go back to the layout sheet. We have a save button. So if I wish to save my project, I can click on this menu, project, save as, and then I've got my various options to save. Cloud save, local browser, or download a copy, which I mentioned in the previous video. We have other options in here. We have view, and these are the different toolbars you'll need. These are the standard ones, and then down here there are other bars which may be useful. Z order bar, so you can stack things on your screen, and timeline if you want to do some animation. Construct comes with all sorts of plugins made by enthusiasts of the software to do special things. And then we have an export manager to help you export your game to the desired platform of your choice. You can install it, download it onto your computer as an app. You can get the add-ons from a store. There's a Sierra store where you can buy graphics and other things. And then we've got our basic settings, help, and about menu. On the left-hand side, we have the properties bar. This tells us all about the game. So this is our first layout. I'm going to call this my game. And it's linked to an event sheet. So this is where the action will happen, and the event sheet is essentially the engine that will run it. This is our size. We can change the side. You can have unbounded scrolling where you can scroll beyond your boundaries. We have various effects we can add to the game. Let's have a look. So we can add Photoshop-like effects to games, to objects, to backgrounds. And in the editor, we can see how the editing goes. We can add a grid. We can do a snap to grid. We can change our grid size. And this is very important because when we start adding tile maps, the grid size becomes quite critical. And this will help us if you want to work with collisions. And you can show clear and inactive layers as well, because we can add extra layers to this. So we can have a game layer, we can have a HUD layer, HUD heads up display layer, we can have a scoring layer, we can have backgrounds and foregrounds all stacked. In the project properties, this is the name of the game. And in here, you can put your author name and your email and your website. And then you can control the background color of the game, splash color. Where we start out, if we have multiple layouts or levels, you can choose where you start. You can use a loader to help load in the graphics if it's a graphic heavy game. And then we've got the loader style. Most people leave this. And we can preload all our sound effects into the game when you launch the game. Here's our viewport, our aspect ratio, and you can choose how it gets shown. And then down here, we've got some advanced effects. This tells us about how it will be seen and how it will work, max sprite sheet size, and other information which you'd like to have a look at. So you can add you've got add-ons you can bundle to it. You can pause the game when you're not working on it. So we don't need to worry about those. And if we want to go back, now sometimes the user interface can get quite confusing. If I click on the stage, my properties layers, the project properties will disappear. I can just go back to view to restart them. If I lose any of my bars, for example, if I lose that, then I can go back to my menu. I can go back to my bars and I can add it again. And then I can move it around various locations for it to snap into place. Okay, now on the other side, we have the project. This is essentially a zip file and it contains some pre-made folders. It contains a folder with my event sheet in it, which I can rename. It contains the layout, and then in here, custom scripts, different objects, families that can be groups of graphics together. And then we can have timelines if we want to use them, sound effects, music, videos, different fonts, and our icons and graphics. So as we have nothing in here at the moment, nothing is showing. And then here we have a layers menu, and this is where we can add different layers and name them. It's quite important they're named. So for example, layer 1, I might want to rename this. I did a right click. I could call this game. I can add new layers. So I'll add a layer on top. We could have a HUD layer. And it's quite important that we're careful about where these layers are. I can add a layer to the bottom and call it background. All of these are highly controllable and you can lock them off, so you might want to set your background and then it might move around, so you can lock them off as you want. Let's go back to my menu now. The save icon is illuminated, so I'm not going to save it right now because it might not give me choices. I'm going to go to Cloud Save. It's going to my Google Drive, and I'm going to go to my construct folder, and I'm going to make a new folder now and call it 2020. It's made a folder for me, so I now need to find it. Double click, and I'm going to save it in here and call this my first project. Let's spell it right, John. And I click save, and it's been saved for me to work on later.